Welcome to the Daily Energize Podcast, where you'll get a jolt of energy and a quick tip to help you conquer your day. Now here's your host, the Prince of Positivity himself, Spencer Jones.
Have you ever had a communication breakdown? You know, the times when you can't seem to understand what that other person's saying, or no matter how hard you try, they just can't seem to understand or comprehend what you are saying. I don't know about you, but I have those experiences at times. I don't have them crazy often, but it does happen at points. And anyway, that's the theme of this episode of the Daily Energize. Communication breakdown, and how can we overcome it? So maybe you've never faced that. Awesome. Maybe you have, and that's okay. But I hope this episode will help you regardless. If you've experienced some before, hopefully it'll help you in the future if you experience some, and give you some tools and strategies to not have it happen again. And if you've never experienced it, awesome. Hopefully these can just maybe be some reminders or some supports to make sure you are communicating effectively. So thank you for hopping in, joining me. Sorry, my throat's getting all crazy. Yeah, the cold I was struggling with 2 weeks ago, or a week ago, whenever it was, time's hard. It's still holding on a little bit, so I apologize if my voice is a little raspy. All right. First of all, thank you for being here, joining me. Please hit follow, subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. I appreciate your love and support. Thank you. Let's talk about communication breakdown. As soon as as I wrote the title of this, my mind just goes to Led Zeppelin, the band from the late 60s, 70s mostly, a little bit of the 80s, just a little bit. Led Zeppelin. Anyway, one of my favorite bands. In any case, just having communication breakdowns. It sucks. It's frustrating when you can't understand what the other person's saying as they're trying to explain it. And it's equally frustrating when they can't, maybe it's even more frustrating, I don't know, when someone can't understand you. Okay, I lied, I do know. For me, it's more frustrating when someone can't understand what I'm trying to say. Okay. So what happens? Why can't they understand us? Well, it could be a plethora of different things, or maybe why we don't understand them. It could be that the person who's listening, trying to understand, their mind is elsewhere. They're thinking of something else. Sometimes they're present, they're with you, but they're looking at it from a different angle. They're looking at it through a different lens. They don't see it the same way you see it. So as you're explaining it, it's not clicking, right? They just can't see it because that filter that they're seeing doesn't allow that in, or they just are struggling to comprehend it. Other times it could be the speaker, the person sharing it, trying to convey that message, whatever that message is. They're not using clear language. They're not using, maybe they're not using nonverbal communication that aligns with the verbal communication. Right? There's a dissonance between the two, and all of a sudden that makes people confused, and it's hard to understand what you're trying to say. Maybe they're not speaking clearly or loud enough, right? Some basic things. Or maybe they're using too much insider lingo that they understand, and maybe some of their team members understand, but the person listening doesn't. Right? It's too niche of a language. Okay, so all those things are possibilities, and there's probably plenty more possibilities of what it could be. What can you do in those scenarios? How can you, if you find yourself in those scenarios, how can you get yourself out of it? Well, first, if you're the person listening to it and trying to understand, first and foremost, make sure you're present in the moment. You're not trying to think of what you have to make for dinner or this, that, the other thing. Be present. And then, you're actively listening to them. But then ask them questions. Say, I'm not sure I understand. Is this what you mean? And you could try repeating back of how you understood it to them. And that might get them to see that, this isn't the same thing, right? That doesn't line, and they could say differently. Or can you ask, can you explain it differently? Sometimes I find comparing it to an example could help. oh, so that's kind of like this, the piston on an engine, da 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 da. And they're like, no, it's not. But then they usually come up with another analogy that then maybe it helps me understand and comprehend it. Now, if you're that person who's trying to communicate the message and the other person's not understanding it, hopefully they're going to tell you. But usually we can see in their face that they don't understand, that you're not getting it. One thing I learned as a teacher is to explain it in many different ways, right? And it doesn't have to take forever, although I'm a long-winded person. It doesn't have to take forever for you to explain it, but you can share a couple examples of it, different examples, different analogies of things as you're trying to explain it, and share what it is. You can ask them, if it makes sense to them, and see if they could share it back with you so you can understand it, or so that they understood it. You make sure your nonverbals line up with your verbal communication, right? So that aligns. I find for me, making sure I'm speaking clearly, that I'm not trying to jump around with what I'm saying, that I'm following a clear path, and that I'm not using insider jargon or, that niche language goes a long way. And I like, if I can do analogies, different things, I find that helps a lot too. We're all going to face communication breakdowns at points. Use it as opportunities to learn and grow. I understand it's easy to get frustrated in it. It's emotion. You're welcome to feel frustrated, but try not to live in that frustration too long. Try to come out of it, learn and grow from it, and then move forward. So, you got this. All right, communication breakdown. It's going to happen, but hopefully it'll happen less and less often as you utilize some of the tools and strategies we shared here. All right, thank you for being here, joining me. Go have an amazing, incredible day. Go shine your light. And until next time, I will catch you later.